What's up, guys? It's Benji, that's Yugioh, your friendly neighborhood Yu-Gi-Oh! Superhero, and today, guys, I'm going to teach you how to, shall we say, rev up your engines in Yu-Gi-Oh! Stick around. I know, I pirated that damn saying from Yusei, but you know what? He'll get over it someday. Alright, before we get into this video, guys, I have a big announcement. The first things first I want to let you guys know is I am in a race now with Yusei Yugioh Pro. His link will be in the description below to his channel. This is a race to 500. So what I need from you guys to do is help me out because I'm the underdog in this race. Yusei has a whole, like, almost 100 subscribers ahead of me, so, you know, if you guys want to, help me win this race, hit that subscribe button and give me a shot at winning. So, without further ado, let's get into this. This video is going to be 10 engines for Yu-Gi-Oh! That to help speed up your deck. So, the idea of an engine in Yu-Gi-Oh! Obviously, like I've kind of stated a second ago, is you want to speed your deck up, and, give an older deck a little more speed, so to speak, to keep up with these newer decks. So I'm going to give you guys like all these varying engines that kind of do that. They will do that. These engines will speed up your deck depending on the deck you're playing, but I digress. That's not what this video is about. The first one we're going to talk about is Empowered Warrior. I figure we'll start with a budget option. Empowered Warrior is a archetype of Empowered Warriors. it's a pendulum-based archetype, mostly built of spellcasters, warriors, and dragons. Basically, the three most supported attributes in the entire game. And the funny thing is they have a field spell that is basically a Rhoda for the deck. You discard a card, you special summon an Empowered Warrior from the deck. And since there's a few that have varying uses, like for example the light one is a warrior, and he has his prime function as an Empowered Warrior is if he's destroyed, he replaces himself and gives you another warrior from the deck. So this allows you to deck thin, etc. And if if you're playing a deck that can utilize the discard, then you essentially are going +1 instead of minus. So that's a really cool little niche trick there. I figure we'll start off with this very budget-esque option, for you guys. So the second one on the list is going to be another pendulum-based one, and that is the Supreme King engine, which is Supreme King, Dark Worm, and one of the gates. So the idea behind this one is it's often used as a way to either give you like allure targets, or if you're playing like something, say like Destrudo, the idea here is you're going to basically make Tomahawk the Xyz monster, the rank 7 Xyz monster, so you get a bunch of tokens and throw out a link plays without actually committing a normal summon. Also, like I said, it thins out the deck. This card is it's a highly used in a lot of dark-based decks or graveyard-based decks, and of course pendulum-based decks. So it's actually got quite a bit of utility regardless of which of those three you're kind of picking. Also, dragon decks get support out of it too. Alright, number 3 on the list is actually a big time, this one's probably going to be one of the more popular engines on the list. Dinosaurs. The thing about the Dinosaur engine is, when you have Oviraptor, which is basically Stratos and at 3, you know what I mean, which, Stratos back in the day was a big time hero engine. Well, Oviraptor's now got a Dinosaur engine. So, most of the time these players who are only using it as an engine, they're just playing Oviraptor, I think it's Quasilisk, the Evolution Pill, and like an Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, and that's it. Then that's the whole engine in a nutshell. And it's usually in like a rank 4 spammy type deck. Number 4 on this list is one that I personally have used and find this engine to be quite useful and very play extending. The Performage engine. So with the Performage engine, you have things like Damage Juggler, Trick Clown, and Hat Tricker. You know, protecting your life points from effect damage, being able to just spam out level 4 monsters for free, and search them out. I mean, it just seems pretty good. You throw it in a graveyard-based deck. This doesn't necessarily have to just go in decks like mine, like Lightsworn. You could put this in any deck that utilizes the graveyard. Really. As long and Hat Tricker is often used in any deck that, you know, needs level 4 monsters. So you can always feel free to use that. Number 5 on the list is Phantom Knights. Now, Phantom Knights have more often than used, you know what I mean? When they're using an engine, they're usually associated with Burning Abyss. I don't know why that escaped me. Phantom Knights have, you know, they've been mainly used as an engine to boost up Burning Abyss. However, the Phantom Knights also can be used for a variety of other decks to be boosted up. They can boost up mostly any kind of warrior-based deck. They can also be used, like, you know, to boost up Lightsworn-based decks, as I have done in the past. I mean, the Phantom Knights are really good. You know, they can be free summons because they can utilize the graveyard to resurrect themselves and stuff, and make easy Link and Exceeds plays. And with the new Legendary Heroes box, now they're a budget option, which, let's face it, guys, I don't know about you guys, but I would rather spend 30 bucks or go halvesies with a friend just to get the Phantom Knight stuff, you know? Like, that's a total, you know, alright, that's a deal. Because anytime you get to have a competitive deck without spending a lot of money, it's a double win. Just saying. The next one is another deck, or another engine that's been used in Lightsworn, but it's also been used in a variety of other decks. The Predaplant engine. This engine actually is one of my favorites, personally, because there's actually 2 routes you can take with this. The Predaplant engine has often been used with Brilliant Fusion. However, it doesn't have to just pick Brilliant Fusion. It can be anything that is a fusion card that it can search for, if I recall correctly. So the idea here, and a lot of people use it, like myself, use it for collecting instant fusion. So we get instant fusion, and we use cards like, you know, Thousand Eyes Restrict, etc. You know, and we make link plays, and then later we'll bring back the Thousand Eyes and watch my opponent scream because they can't attack me. That's how basically I use it. I use it more of a defensive type card, but, you know, you don't have to use it that way. I'm just saying that's how I use it. The next one on the list is one that's been very popular in, you know, very, I want to say back row heavy decks that often use the opponent's turn to play, is Windwitch. This is another engine. You use this card to make Crystal Wing and make one that's practically invincible, and of course, if you're playing a deck like, for example, Dark Magicians that plays on the opponent's turn, the Windwitch engine often uses the, you know, is used to give them a first turn play. You know, putting out a monster that can't be destroyed by card effects and can negate a monster effect, that's pretty good. So, and it thins out the deck of 2 cards. So, essentially, you know, your deck gets thinned out so you get to the cards you need faster, you know, and statistically speaking. And then, of course, you know, you throw out this big, badass monster, and then you set a bunch of back row and watch your opponent scream. Alright, the next one is another spellcaster-based one. That is Spellbook, the Spellbook engine. Essentially what you do is you use Prophecy, you use the Draw spell, you use the Search spell for Spellbooks, and essentially that's your whole engine. And basically you are now, because of that, you are basically playing Pot of Greed. Which, let's face it guys, don't we all wish we had a Pot of Greed? I don't know about you, I do. You kidding me? If Solar Recharge was, like, just basically Pot of Greed for Lightsworns without the discard, oh, I'd be thrilled. Alright, the next one is actually going to be something that I've kind of coined it as an engine, even though it's not technically an engine. It's very much a viable deck all on its own, which actually some of these really on this list are. But this next one is Mekk-Knights. Now, you guys are probably thinking, what? Mekk-Knights aren't an engine? Oh, but they so are. If you go check out my Exodia and my Obelisk the Tormentor videos, I use the Mekk-Knights to thin out the deck and put up walls of monsters for my opponent to get through before I summon the big guy to just end it. So these guys, these are very, you can consider these variants to the Mekk-Knight deck, but realistically, I view them as it's really a God deck or an Exodia deck using the Mekk-Knights as deck fitting tools. Essentially, thinning out the deck so I can get to the God and have the monsters necessary to tribute for him without necessarily giving up a bunch of resources to do so. Now, before we get to the last one on this list, I am going to have some honorable mentions. Now, the reason why these guys are honorable mentions is because they're a little bit on the pricier side. And that is the Sky Striker engine and the Danger engine. These two engines are, these two decks are powerful decks in and of themselves, but they're also engines. So the reason why they're in the honorable mention section is because the truth is, they're highly pricey. You cannot get the best Sky Striker stuff without spending a mint. You certainly can't get the best Danger stuff without spending a decent chunk of money. I know, I was eyeballing Chupacabra, and it's the cheapest one. I'm pretty sure out of the whole archetype, Chupacabra and Jackalope are the cheapest. And you're at least going to be spending, $15 for one copy. That's a lot of money to spend on one copy of a card that you need to play 3 of if you really want an engine. And those are the cheapo cards out of it, you know what I mean? Of course, I haven't checked prices in a while. Those probably have gone up by now because of all the new support. But I digress. That was the last time I looked at them, The point is, they're a little on the pricey side. So that's why they're honorable mentions. Because I try to keep things on the, on the cheaper side. And Dangers are fairly new. So, yeah, they're going to be pricey. And Sky Strikers, they're, as much as I hate the deck, I gotta give it props. It's got a ceiling that is through the roof. Alright, so the last engine, I should say, that is part of my list, and this is the one that I think is actually one of the best ones to play on, depending on the deck you're playing, and it's actually associated with the Mekk-Knights for the previous engine in there, and it's Invoked. So the Alistair the Invoker engine is actually really useful, especially in a deck that, if you're playing a deck that special summons a lot, and leaves you with a lot of room. There's tons of decks that can utilize this because Alistair really has a fusion monster for every attribute. So there's really any deck, as long as if your normal summon isn't required as much. Essentially, or even if it is in some cases, Mekk-Knight is a beast of a monster to get around. Being able to say, none of that, I negate your. You know what I mean? Like you play a graveyard-based deck, oh, well, I ditched this, and oh, look, now there's a Fairy Tale Snow in the graveyard, and I just negated your monster effect. Or some of these cards can be combined with other decks that are graveyard-based, like Burning Abyss, Phantom Knights. The list could go on forever. Truth be told, you could even put these guys, you could even put it in Danger, technically. Think about it. You negate a monster effect with Mekk-Knight, and then now your Danger monster goes off too. That's busted. I granted you like to play light monsters, but I digress. The point is to say that, that's actually one of my favorite, ones. And plus, a lot of these cards these engines can be combined in the same deck. That's the craziness of it. For example, Performages, Alistair the Invoker. Boom. You've got a crazy deck that can spam out level 4 monsters and throw a big negator out there. It's just all sorts of crazy. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think of these engines. Are there any engines that I forgot, maybe? And, if you think there's an engine that I missed, please put it in the comments below, because engines are one of the best things about Yu-Gi-Oh! They speed up decks. They give old decks a chance to keep up with newer decks. And I personally find them to be the most interesting side of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the crazy engines where we'll take, a little bit of like ABC and then we'll stick it in Cyber Dragons, and for some reason it works as a crazy example. But yeah, so make sure you put that in the comments below. And please, guys, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. I want to get to 500 before you say beats me. And also go check out his channel so you can decide if you want to subscribe to him too. I'm the underdog here, but I'll be, in the effort of fair play, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and, help this underdog, speed past Yusei. So, without further ado, guys, I'm out of here. Peace!